Hello, everyone. This is Wayne Bennett with ECRM and Range Me. I'm real excited to have someone very special in our industry today to continue with the Women Behind the Brands series, which is being hosted and sponsored by the Emerson Group, which is a valued leader in health, wellness, and beauty. And today I'm joined by the Chief Merchant of BJ's, Rachael Vegas. Rachael, it's so great to see you. Thank you for being here. Hope you're having a great day.
Thanks, Wayne. I'm thrilled to be here.
Okay. So, Rachael, before we get into this, can you just maybe share with us a little bit about your role at BJ's?
Sure. I lead the merchandising team at BJ's. So that includes our home, seasonal, consumer electronics, apparel, and then all of what we call sundries, health and beauty and household goods, as well as our grocery business, both perishable and non-perishable. And then I also oversee our services businesses. That includes our tire bays, our optical services, as well as travel and some other service related, and it's end to end. Includes our own brand development, our sourcing, and our merchant and assortment.
That's pretty formidable, Rachael. And I know we've known each other for a while. And what I'm curious to know a little bit is in your career journey as a female leader in the industry, what are some of the things you've done to overcome barriers to reach your leadership position?
I think I've been fortunate to have a lot of female mentors over the course of my career and seeking out their advice at key moments, whether that's when I decided to have children or as I was navigating the balance of work and home life. That has helped me to follow in the footsteps of other successful female leaders. I think separate from that, when you just think about overcoming barriers, I personally try not to think about them in the sense of this gender barrier, but it's more about how you show up, the insights you bring, the way you lead other people. I
Yeah.
believe if I reflect on my career path and the impact I've had on different companies and teams, a lot of what I'm known for is my ability to inspire and set a core strategy and build a team that's really engaged and bought into that.
Yeah, Rachael, that's great. And, to that point, um, women who aspire to go into retail and become a leader, what advice would you give them?
It's a really interesting industry because it's still massively dominated by males. It is a place where, depending on the company you work for and the category in which you work, you may find more females than males. But on the whole, I would say retail is still a male dominant industry. I started my career in operations. I was a store manager. I was a very young store manager, and all of my peers, as a 20 something female store manager, all of my peers were men in their 40s and 50s. And my boss was also. And at that time, I really made a commitment to be able to show up shoulder to shoulder and not try to prove myself, but learn from them, listen to them, and also be able to make an impact that was my own and unique to who I was. And as I migrated from operations into more merchant focused roles, I would say in that capacity, it's this really nice balance between the data and analytics and sort of the intellectual side of the role with the consumer insights and human behavior side, where
Yes.
as a female, I bring a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rachael, in that success you've had as a retail leader, what are you doing to mentor or advocate for women leadership in women in retail within the BJ's organization?
Yeah, mentoring women and advocating for their growth and development is a huge passion of mine. It's been that way in every role and every company I've ever been in, and a place where I think that women sometimes need the right level of encouragement and confidence building in order to do what they're already capable of doing. I remember a time when I was a new vice president, a divisional at Target, and I had an opening on my team. And I
Yeah.
knew of three women who were candidates for this role. They were qualified, they were capable, and they absolutely were going to be on my short list of people to interview. And a guy walked into my office who later reported to one of these women and said, "I'm ready for this job. I want this job." And I thought, this is absolutely the stereotype that people talk about. Men ask for the job they're not ready for, and women have to be asked to apply for a job they are more than ready for. And I found that dynamic to be true at almost every company. And so since I've joined BJ's,
Yep.
really encouraged women on my team who I know are capable of the promotion I have in mind for them to do it. They often will say, "You know what? I have children at home. I don't want to work more." And I've shown them it's not working more, it's working differently. As you grow an
Yep.
organization, the nature of your role and the nature of your position as a leader versus a doer evolves, but that doesn't
Yes.
mean that it's a bigger commitment to work than to your family any more than it was in the last role.
Yeah, that's great advice, Rachel. And I know you've gone through it yourself and can really speak from experience. And just to further that up a little bit, is can you share a little bit about what you do to manage your career and personal life to that earlier point?
Yeah, that's been something I've contended with my whole career since I had children. My husband and I, for almost our entire marriage, have been equal earners, and we both had important jobs with important titles at different companies.
Yeah.
And neither of us wanted to sacrifice our family nor our careers in order to have a family. And so we were really aligned with what that looked like. I didn't want to have a live-in nanny to raise my children. I wanted to do that. And so we had a very easy arrangement. He brought the kids in the morning and I picked them up at the end of the day. And that meant I was up early, I'd work out, I'd get to the office, sometimes before my kids woke up in the morning. And I was
Mm.
okay with that because I didn't like the goodbye part. And then I was rigid and religious about leaving at 5 o'clock every single day and making sure I could pick up my kids and spend the evening with them. And I found the balance, and we managed overlapping travel needs
Yeah.
almost our entire time without ever having to find third party to come in and help us out with the overnights.
That's amazing. That's really great, Rachel. And congratulations for making that work. That's great. And so, as we think about women as the core consumer going into your stores and going into retail, can you maybe share a little perspective on how women-driven innovations have helped shape the retail business?
There are so many women-driven innovations, and you know probably as well as I do, having worked with the founder of Range Me before, who's a great
Yes.
friend of mine, Nikki.
Yeah.
And I think that it is no different than a man in the sense that, hey, if you have a great idea and you go after a passion and you're an entrepreneur and you bring that idea to white space in the industry that you're bringing it to, that it's going to be successful. But I do think that women have a unique lens on where their ideas are generated versus where men's ideas are generated based on solving problems in their own lives or in their own jobs.
Yeah.
Many years ago, very few people know this, I wrote an entire business plan and sourced a capability through a digital marketing firm and bought a URL and have an idea that to this day I believe is really relevant, and it solves a problem that tons of moms have when they're registering their kids for lots of different camps or after school programs and they have to fill out forms, and it was a solution to that. I never launched it because I was slightly risk averse and I also didn't want to quit my day job to do this, but I knew it was a good idea when I had friends for years afterward calling and begging me to move forward with this idea I had because I had
Right.
socialized it with them. And it was true to the problems we were all experiencing as moms.
Right. Well, Rachel, I would concur that my wife, who is the mother of two children, is a much more logical and a much better problem solver than I am. So I concur and agree with you on that wholeheartedly. Um, Rachel, just a quick question about brands doing business with BJ's. What are some of the key factors you consider or they should know about doing business with BJ's? If I'm a new brand, an emerging brand, um, what are some of the things you may want to share about that?
So, um, we are in a very fast growth mode at BJ's. I'm really excited about the merchandising transformation that my team has been undergoing for the past several years. We are absolutely seeking out newness and trend right products and ideas that we haven't necessarily found a place for it in the past. I think the industry used to really see BJ's as a fast follow and sometimes a slow follow, just for the nature of, hey, we need to sell it in a big size, and therefore we need to wait till it's proven in a sort of traditional size, grocery size, before we bring it to club. And I would say, like, we need to think creatively about ways to bring that innovation to our members because
Yeah.
they're absolutely paying to come shop in our doors and see what's new in every category that they see as a destination. And we're not a traditional club player. We are kind of the best of grocery meets the best of club. We have a lot more assortment than a traditional club, but we're highly curated and it makes it easier to shop. So we're going to be very selective. We're going to look to fill need states that are unmet for our members and not have a lot of duplication so we can make it really easy and a great value for them to shop with us.
Right. So if I'm a new brand, I haven't done business yet with BJ's, or if I have some innovation, I should bring it.
Absolutely. I think our entire industry should thrive off innovation, and it makes it exciting to shop somewhere when you know you're going to find something new that you've not seen before.
Great. Rachel, I got one last question for you, and I appreciate your time today. Can you share a personal story or a key lesson learned that has helped shape your approach to leadership?
Yeah. So I would say twice in my career, I have found myself moving from an area that I was really knowledgeable about or experienced in, whether it was the industry or whether it was the role itself, into a role that was a different functional area, different categories, different industries, and
Right.
oftentimes different people. And the first time that happened to me, I would say that I didn't do a very good job in my new role for the first 8 or 9 months. And in meeting with a leader of mine and a mentor of mine and asking her, I feel like I'm not at my best in this role and I'm not succeeding and I'm not sure how to navigate it. What I realized was I failed to ask a few questions before I started the job. And those questions were, why do you want me in this role? Because when I think about my own skill set and experiences, I actually don't feel super qualified to do this. How do I tackle this? What does success look like in this job? And what when I come into the role, what are some things that I should be really intentional about doing and not doing in order to hit the ground running? And so, in that capacity, I had had that conversation with this leader 8 or 9 months after I started in the role. And then shortly thereafter, I was actually on a maternity leave. And when I came back from maternity leave, I approached my job differently. I had different questions, I had a different style, I had a different approach, and sort of a different agenda that I was working to develop. And I remember someone on my team saying, were you studying while you were on maternity leave? Because you're doing things so differently. And it was a really prescient moment for me because a couple years later went into a new job and similarly felt highly unqualified. It was a new industry, it was a new functional area, but I was really intentional about asking the leader in that space, why do you want me in this role? And asking that up front really shaped my approach to how I tackled the job, how I engaged with my team, and how I defined success in the end.
That's great. So getting alignment, understanding what's needed, and managing expectations.
That was a great summary.
Okay. Well, Rachel Vegas, it's always a pleasure to spend time with you. I really appreciate you having this time with me today to talk about the Women Behind the Brands series. I believe we will both be at FMI coming up in a few days, so I will see you there. So look forward to that.
Likewise.
It's always a pleasure. I know you guys are continuing to grow and on that growth mode focus. I see the reports, I see the news. So congratulations on that. We at ECRM and Range Me are here to support you whenever you need that. And again, I do want to thank the Emerson Group for their step up and making this series possible. Rachel, thank you so much for your time and attention, and we wish you lots of success.
Thank you, Wayne. It was great to be here, and I look forward to seeing you in a few days.
You got it.